Hi, welcome to Motorcycle Mobility Level 1, where I'm going to teach you 6 exercises that you can use to help yourself ride your motorcycle longer and further with less fatigue and less pain. Hi, I'm Coach Kyle. I'm a neuroathletic coach, which means I've been trained and I pay attention to the structures in the brain and the pathways in your brain when you're doing exercises or doing performance-oriented tasks like riding a motorcycle. I'm also a motorcycle rider. I've been riding all my life, started when I was about 8 years old. One of my most favorite memories of life is being out on the road with my dad in the younger years, where we would each get on our own motorcycle and take several weeks and tour the Western United States. Now, what I didn't like about that experience was the pain that I felt during those long days of riding. I would get chronic migraine headaches. I would have pain in my wrists and ankles and low back and various other places. And I didn't like that level of fatigue. Well, over the years, I've learned a few things, and I can now ride pain-free. I can ride hours and hours a day and be fine. And I attribute that to these set of exercises that I've learned and I want to teach to you. Now, I did a survey. It was an informal survey, but I did a survey of about 100 different motorcycle riders. And I found out where most of the pain points are within the body, and I've tailor-made this first set of exercises to address the answers I got with that survey. Now, before we get started, I have 3 rules for doing these exercises or these drills. Now, they're not full-blown exercises, they're just moving your joints through their range of motion. And the first rule is I want a long spine. So that doesn't mean a military stance with your chest out and your shoulders back. That just means a neutral stance, being tall and pushing up through the crown of your head. You kind of imagine making space in your vertebrae through your back and through the different joints, like in your hips and knees. You're just being long and tall. Another example I gave is if you're trying to zip up a coat that's a couple sizes too small for you, and you kind of got to suck in your gut just a little bit and get tall and zip that up. The other rule I have is never move into pain. So if you do one of these exercises and they hurt, then either don't do them, or you can try this first. You can slow down the speed at which you're doing that motion. And if that doesn't help, then you can slow down and reduce the range of motion. And if you still have pain after that, just skip that drill and don't do that one. The third rule I have is always, always, always safety first. I'm going to teach most of these drills in a standing position like I am here, but I'm going to teach a couple of them seated on the motorcycle. Now, I would suggest that you do these in the comfort of your own living room first for a while so you get used to them before you transition to doing them on the motorcycle. So when you do get on the motorcycle, obviously make sure it's not running, make sure you've got it in gear so it doesn't roll on you. Never do these while you're riding, actually out on the road. And make sure you've got a good center stand or something that makes your bike stable when you're sitting here on it doing these exercises. And if you're gonna use your feet, make sure you got good footing, you're not gonna slip out. Because the last thing I'd want to happen is you to be doing one of my exercises and dump your bike over and hurt yourself and hurt your bike. So let's go ahead and get started on these. We're going to start with the feet. Now, feet are the foundation of everything we're going to do, and I'm going to show you a couple exercises, a couple of these drills with your feet. So again, I want a nice long tall spine when you're doing these. And if I know that everybody, when they first start doing these, they want to look down at their foot to make sure it's doing what they think it should be doing and make sure it's there. So the problem with that, though, is this is not good posture. So if you're like this looking at your feet, then you're not practicing good posture for your body. So what I'll do is I'll let you look at it and do 1 rep looking at your foot, but then I want you to look back up and be neutral and long spine and looking straight ahead, and then do the exercise. Also, shoes on, shoes off. Everyone asks me that. Initially, when I first teach these and you're doing these in your house, in your living room or whatever, take your shoes off and do them with your shoes off, because you'll get a greater range of motion. Once you have the exercise down and you're good at it, then like if you're out on the road, you pull over for a break or to get gas or whatever, you can do these exercises with your boots on. You'll get less articulation of the joints, but it'll still help. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull my boots off, and I'm gonna show you a couple things about the feet, and we'll get into the first set of exercises. So the first joint we're gonna move is one of the joints in your foot called the talocalcaneus joint. So where this is, where it lives on you, is if you find the bump here on the side of your ankle and come straight down, not all the way to the floor, but just straight down a little more than halfway, you're going to feel another bone and then kind of a soft spot. That is the joint. And it's where your heel bone, your calcaneus, attaches to your talus, which is a bony structure as part of your ankle complex. I'll call it that way. So what I want you to do is find this. So find the bump on the side of your leg, come straight down. There's a little soft spot. And I want you to rub it or tap it and wake it up. And the reason why, there's neurological structures. The structure that feels things, the sensory part of your brain, fires before the motor or the movement part. So we say sensory before motor. So if you can't feel it, you can't move it. So we want to rub it, tap it, wake it up so you can feel it. And now we know, hey, this is the target. This is what I want to move. Okay, so we're going to just tap that and rub it for a couple seconds and wake it up. And then the actual exercise, I'm going to show you two directions, one from the front and one from the back. First thing we're going to do is we're going to have this long, tall posture, neutral position. You're going to step forward, and I'm demonstrating with my left foot here. Step forward, so my left heel is kind of in line with my right toe. And then you're going to internally rotate, and then you're just going to gently rock up on the edge of your foot, kind of like you're rolling your ankle, back to neutral. So you can look down for this first one, back to neutral, and now I want you to look straight ahead and repeat that 2 more times. And now that you have that, you shouldn't have to look at your foot again. Next time you do them, just do 3 here. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to switch feet. Same thing, step forward. So my heel is in line with my toes. Internally rotate, rock up on the edge 3 times. Now I'm not cranking on this and putting a lot of weight on it. I'm not moving my body very much at all, just enough to get a little bit of weight to roll up on the edge, back to flat foot. I'm going to show it from the side now. So step forward, internally rotate, nice long tall spine, roll up on the edge, back to flat, edge, and flat. Those are called ankle tilts. You do 3 on each side. Our next exercise for the feet is ankle circles. So go ahead and hold on to a wall or a chair or a countertop or something. And what you're going to do is, again, you have this nice long tall posture. You're going to just lift one leg out, keep the knee locked, and we're going to draw a circle with our ankle. 3 in one direction, 3 in another direction. And then we switch feet. We do 3 one direction and 3 the other direction. Now, when you first do these, they probably will be kind of herky-jerky in places, like you might kind of shake or jump through or skip a section, or you might do like a half circle or what looks like a capital D with your circle instead of a full circle. Now that's okay in the beginning. What this is, it's your cerebellum trying to figure out how to draw the circle. Now this is a great exercise for not only for your feet, but your cerebellum, which is actually a great exercise for your balance, which is important riding a motorcycle. Your cerebellum integrates your balance system from your inner ear, your vestibular system, along with complex motions like circles, figure eights, and spirals. Now your cerebellum is involved in a straight up and down and left and right motion, but after a while it gets bored with those linear motions and it actually likes circles. So that's why I'm teaching this as a circle. If you can't figure out the circle in the beginning, go up and down, go left and right, and then try to put those together. And that's how you get yourself into the circle. Again, if you're experiencing pain, slow it down. If you still have pain, reduce the range of motion. Now, if you get tired standing on one leg, again, you can do these seated. You would just sit down in a chair, Hold that nice long tall posture and hold your leg out in front of you and do these circles. Well, one of the things I teach people, sometimes their circles aren't very big and they would like to get bigger circles. So what I tell people is to imagine there's a laser coming out of the back of your heel, and your heel is drawing the circle as opposed to your toes. And that can get more articulation out of your ankle. All right, so 3 circles each direction with one foot, 3 circles each direction with the other foot, and those are the ankle circles. Next, I'm going to skip all the way up to your hands because there's a neurological connection between your hands and feet. So I'm going to skip up to the hands and I'm going to show you an exercise called wrist glides and wrist circles. Now, the way these work is we want to hold our hands at like a loose fist, and we're going to move our wrist up and down and left and right, leaving our fist in one location. So sometimes I tell people to put their other hand on their fist, or to put your fist against something like a wall or whatever, because what I don't want this. That's moving your fist up and down. We want the motion to come from here and this to remain stable. So it's your wrist. This part goes up, this part goes down, this part stays relatively in the same place. Now, all of us motorcycles quickly recognize this as what we do with our right hand for our throttle anytime we're riding a motorcycle. So our left hand might not be quite as good at it. Most motorcycle riders, they're like, oh yeah, this is no problem. I can do it with the right hand, but we also want you to do this with the left hand. Then here comes the tricky part. We're also going to go side to side. So I'm going to turn and face you for this one. So again, this stays still, and you're going to go right and left with your wrist, keeping your fist in one place. Now again, you can put something there to hold it in place. You can put it against a wall, put it against something, whatever, and that gives you that ability to keep your fist in one place while your wrist is going around it. Now, once you have the up and down figured out, and once you have the side to side figured out and can do those, then you put them together as a circle. So you'd go up, left, down, right, and up, and then go the other way and make a circle out of it that way. You can do these one hand at a time. You can do both of them together, same direction, opposite directions, however you want to do it. But we want 3 circles in one direction, 3 circles in the other direction, both right and left hands. Now I want to show this on the motorcycle. It's a good way to transition and make a direct connection for what you're doing. So we'll look at the left hand here, and with my hand on the motorcycle, I'm doing a loose grip, nice long tall spine, looking straight ahead. Again, I'm stable here, I'm not going to fall over, and I just do the left and right glide. I do the up and down glide, and then I can put them together as a circle. Now, if you don't like it there, you can touch with your fist and do them. You can put your finger here on your handlebar. You could do it anywhere. You could touch up here. You could do it here on your mirror, kind of all over. The point is to get this section moving and this being still and not moving. That's the key to it. It gets more mobilization of more of the bones and muscles in your wrist when you do it that way. And obviously this is a great transition for helping our wrist not get so tired when we're out on the highway riding for long distances. Okay, that's the wrist. Going to move on now to the hips. So first I want to help you find where your hips are. So we're going to start up here, going to find our last set of ribs. We're going to go down. There's a soft, squishy area where there's no bones, and then you're going to hit another bone, set of bones right here. This is not your hip. This is called your iliac crest. So it's the top of your pelvis bone. Now there's another bone that people think is their hip, and it's out here on the side. On your leg, and you'll feel a bony spot there. That is not your hip. That's the kind of like the head of your femur bone called the greater trochanter, but that's not your hip either. So we want to find the actual hip socket and where the motion is going to take place. So act like you're going to put your hands in your pockets. So if you put your hands in your pocket and then you lift up a leg and bend, you're going to feel a crease right here, and that is actually where your hip goes into the ball and socket of your pelvic bone. So that's the target area that we're going to be moving. So the way these work is, again, hold on to something, nice long tall spine, bring your leg out in front of you, keep your knee locked, and you're just going to draw a circle. So it's like your foot or your heel is making the circle, but your foot and heel aren't moving like they were with the ankle circles. All the motion is coming from here, from your hip socket. So 3 in one direction and 3 in another direction. Now, one of the key factors for this is make sure when you do this that you're not hiking your pelvis up, right? So if you got your belt on, think of your belt always staying horizontal. So if you're going like this to do it, that's not what we want. We want to keep this level. You're gonna have to shift your weight a little bit, but then just bring your foot straight out and do a circle here. Okay, you're not doing a circle like this where you're moving your whole body around. We want just the motion coming from this socket. Okay, so I'm going to teach you 2 of these. So again, we do 3 in one direction, in each direction with this foot, 3 in each direction with the other foot. And then this is called a front hip circle. I also want to teach you the back hip circle. And the reason why is we spend a lot of time on our motorcycle in the riding position in what I call, this is a flexed position. Your leg is in flexion. And I want to get some experience with your leg being in extension, which means your leg is coming behind the other leg. Now, most of us don't have a lot of range of motion here. So here's the thing I want you to watch out for is when you come back with your leg, don't arch your back and crank like this. That's not where we want the range of motion to go. It's not very much. So think of your toe coming about in line with the heel of your other foot. So it's not much motion at all. And again, all of this is staying still. You're not moving your back or arching or anything. You're just like drawing your foot back so that your toes are in line with your other heel. Lift your toe up and you're going to do a small circle, 3 in each direction. This is a much smaller circle than we did out in front. And then we want to do these with both feet. So long spine, come back, trace a little circle back here behind you, 3 in each direction. These are great to counterbalance the hours of riding in this flexed position. So it's great to, like you're getting gas or taking a break, get off your bike and just do a couple of these back hip circles. Okay. One last exercise, and that is for the lumbar portion of your back. So we have 3 sections to your spine. We have the cervical spine, which is your neck. We have the thoracic spine, which is where your ribs attach to. And then we have the lumbar spine, which is from your last rib down where it connects into your sacrum, which is connected to your pelvis. So it's a very short area. So the way to find this is find your ribs, again, your last rib. Come down into this soft, squishy spot, and then you'll find your iliac crest. Come just above your iliac crest and put your hands there. So it's about where your belt line is. We're going to widen our stance just a little bit, like 1.5 times shoulder width, so not very far. Going to soften the knees. So it's like an 8th squat, just a little, unlock the knees. Hold this position, and you're just going to tilt your upper body over your hands or your belt. So I'm demonstrating it going to the left, and I just do this little tilt. Now I'm not throwing my hip out, right? I'm not leaning. I'm not tilting my shoulders and my whole body. I'm just trying to make the motion and the bend come from this area of this soft, squishy area by bending over my belt buckle or my belt. 3 one way, 3 the other way. Now, once you get those figured out where this isn't moving and this isn't moving, it's just your lumbar. Once you get clean tilts, then what I want you to do is make a half circle to the front. So you're going to lean forward just a little bit, come around, back to neutral, stack back up, tilt, come around, stack back up, and we're doing 3 of these, and stack back up. We'll go to the left, come around to the right, come back to neutral, left and around. So you're only doing a half circle, and left and around. So that's the lumbar circle I'm going to teach for level 1. In future levels, I'm going to teach a larger range of motion for that, but I don't want you doing that right now. And the reason why is because your lumbar portion of your back has a lot of what we call nociceptors. Now, a nociceptor is a nerve ending that sends a signal to the brain that the brain eventually interprets as pain or potential pain. So if we're moving this around a lot, even though we're moving it in a safe range of motion, in a normal range of motion, sometimes the brain can misinterpret that motion as one of those nociceptors firing, and it can actually create more pain in your low back, and that's not what we want. So that's why I'm limiting it to a very small range of motion. Now, once you get this down pain-free, in future levels, I'll teach a larger lumbar range of motion. Now, you can also do these seated, and again, when you're sitting down, just maintain a long spine through here, even though you're seated. And sometimes it's good to do them in a chair because it keeps this from moving all around. Because a lot of times when we do these, we get kind of this thing going or sliding or all kinds of stuff, but we don't want this moving. So I'm going to demonstrate on my motorcycle. Once again, don't do these if you have any balance issues. You want to make sure you're safe. Motorcycle's not running. All that stuff, you got good footing, you're not going to fall over. So once again, we have this long spine. This is not going to move. This is going to stay still. I'm going to tilt left over my belt. I'm going to come around forward just a little bit over my gas tank, back to the right side, and stack back up. Again, we do 3 of these in each direction. Now you can also do them holding on, just to make sure your arms stay relaxed and you're not using your arms to make that motion. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to teach about this. Just 3 nice ones in each direction. And welcome to my dog Stella, who is putting her 2 cents worth in on the video. She likes to include herself in all my videos. All right, so there's a lot of neuroscience behind this, a lot of great information that I'm not going to take the time to teach in this first video because I'm trying to keep it short and succinct. But the great thing with these exercises is what they do is they clear up your map. Now, your brain has maps of your body in space and time. It doesn't have just one map, it's got a whole bunch of maps. When you do these range of motion things with different joints and take your joints to their range of motion, you're cleaning up the brain's map. So like I said, when you first do your ankle circles, they'll probably be herky-jerky. That's because your map isn't very clear. As you do these more and more, that'll clear up your map. Now, just like when we're out riding and we have a map that we're following to get somewhere, and if that map gets blurry or we can't see it or our GPS goes out or something and we don't know where we're at, we tend to want to slow down to be more careful and cautious to make sure we get where we're going safely. Our brain's the same way. If it has a blurry map, your brain's going to put on the brakes. Now, there's 2 primary ways your brain puts on the brakes. That is through pain, and the other is through fatigue. Now, yes, riding motorcycles long distance is tiring and fatiguing, can create pain, but your brain can bring that pain and fatigue on quicker if its map is blurry and it doesn't know what's going on. So we clear up the map, your brain's happier, it takes the brakes off, it gives you less pain, less fatigue, you can ride further, more comfortably, and not be so wiped out at the end of the day that you can't do anything but start popping Advil or something like that. So yeah, I love being able to go out for a long ride and at the end of the day get off my bike and feel good enough to go out to dinner and not have a headache or not have something hurting bad. And this first set of exercises will help you down the road to that end. Now, in the future, I'm going to include other modules. So I'm hoping to go all the way through module 6. I'm going to get into vision training and vestibular, which is your balance system and all kinds of stuff to help you ride better. But for now, I wanted to address these high pain points that I got on the survey and get a free video out there to all of you so you could start practicing hopefully over the winter, and by springtime you will have a good set of exercises you can do to help you ride better. All right, any questions, go ahead and get those to me in the comments wherever you can see those. You can send me an email at Kyle@coachkyle.com, and that's Kyle with a C, C-Y-L-E, at coachkyle.com. One of the questions I get with these is how often, how much do I do these? So I tell people in the beginning, do 3 reps of each direction, so 3 circles each direction with each body part, and do these 3 times a day. So if you do them when you get up, do them at lunch, and then before you go to bed. And then if you're out on a ride, anytime you take a break, get gas, whatever, just hop off your bike and do a couple of these wrist circles and a couple ankle circles and a couple of these lumbar circles and some hip circles, right? You don't have to do all of them every time, but doing 1 or 2 of them on your breaks is a great way to keep that energy level higher and help you ride longer. So 3 reps of each, 3 times a day. If you can't get in 3 times a day, twice a day is great. But as you do these more and more, the pain will go away. And as I start teaching some of the other ones too in the future modules or the future levels, that'll help more as well. All right, so I hope you enjoy these. Any questions, let me know, and see you out there on the road somewhere.